Final Fantasy. What can be said about Final Fantasy? These are some of the all-time greatest video games ever. They have fantastic stories, great battle systems, and overall, they're just fantastic games. I friggin' love Final Fantasy. The reason I tell you all this is because I want to get you in the mindset of what I was expecting when I was going to play Final Fantasy XII. I was hyped, friggin' hyped, to get this game. I knew that this game was not going to disappoint me. The other games were so good, why should this one be so bad? I mean, heck, 8 was probably one of the weaker ones, and yet that's still a really good game. And isn't that weren't enough? Consider this. This game received positively glowing reviews. GameSpot gave it a 9 out of 10. IGN gave it a 9.5 out of 10. And the infamous harsh Japanese critics Famitsu gave it a perfect score of 40 out of 40. How can that not excite you? I may have been overhyped a little, but I didn't care. I wanted this game. Final Fantasy has always been fantastic. You have no idea how much I wanted to love this game. But I think I've bored you with enough exposition. So without further ado, here's my review of Final Fantasy XII. So we begin this Japanese cinematic opus in the year 704. Odd. I don't remember anything about giant warships being invented in the year 704. But hey, it's a fantasy. I'm sure it can screw with history every once in a while. Huh. This town certainly looks weird.
Has it ever occurred to you? Has it?
As you can see, the whole town is celebrating the marriage between these two people. Yeah, I honestly have no idea who these people are, but who cares? It's a wedding. Let's all be happy. Or should we?
If, following this, Arcadia should launch an attack by both land and air, our kingdom will stand little...
Nabudis has fallen.
Wait, repeat that. Wait, so there's another country attacking you? When did that happen? What's going on? Who are you? Who are these people? Look at the giant glowing chessboard. Okay, time out. What just happened? I didn't cut anything out. That's literally how the game begins. There's a wedding between two people we don't know anything about, and then we see government officials discussing a war, which we also don't know anything about. First of all, are we supposed to care about the new husband and wife? We don't know anything about them. Except for the fact that they might be of royal blood, because, well, why else would the whole town be celebrating their marriage? As for the war... What? When was there any indication that there was a war going on, when in the last scene, people were celebrating? It's not even explained why the war is happening. Is it because of resources? Is there a civil war? Is there an evil foreign nation trying to take over the world? What? You can't just establish that there's a war completely out of the left field. It makes it look rushed, forced, and overall, it just makes no sense in the context of what we've seen so far. Furthermore, why is the new husband here? What, did he just bolt from his new wife as soon as the wedding was over? And if you think that's bad, consider this. He actually rides off to war just mere hours after marrying the love of his life. Look, dude, I understand the need to defend your homeland, but come on, you literally just married. Go on a honeymoon, spend a few days with her. Don't just ride off to war with your newlywed wife behind. Though to be fair, the actual fighting is actually really awesome. I mean, just look at it. Now, I'd like to ask a few minor questions here. Why? Why are these people fighting? Who are they? What are they fighting for? You really can't show this stuff to us without at least drawing us in first. Something this game fails miserably at. But anyway, we see the new husband fighting, but then he gets struck by one measly friggin' arrow, and he dies like a pansy. In fact, this guy is such a pansy that his armor suffered only one arrow, yet it cracked. That's pretty pansy-ish if you ask me. Afterwards, it then cuts to this funeral scene for the prince, but to be honest, even now, as I sit here, I'm not even sure if I'm supposed to feel sorry for this guy. We didn't really know anything about him. In fact, we don't even learn his name right here. Like, how are we supposed to feel sorry for this guy? If at all. And to be frank, I've never felt this apathetic towards such a very minor character. I mean, look at Biggs and Wedge and Jesse from Final Fantasy VII. I felt sorry for those guys. They never lived to see their goals ever accomplished. That kind of makes me feel sad about them when they die. But this guy, whoever he is not very developed at all right here. I mean, yeah, they might show something later, but if you really want to make me feel sorry for this guy, at least develop him more. And then we see the title after this 5-minute cutscene, and this is pretty much the harbinger of death at this point. We then see something that almost never appears in modern day video games, an opening summary of exposition. At first I was annoyed by this because I thought there are a million better ways you could explain all this without resorting to an opening summary. But then I remembered the opening and I realized that the game lacked the skill to create a cohesive exposition. Besides, this game is, and I'm not even kidding here, 70 to 100 hours. I'm going to repeat that again. 70 to 100 hours. With this in mind, I realized that as much as I hate the way this is explained, I realized that the only way you could really explain all this without slowing everything to a grinding halt would be to use an opening exposition, because then you're not really slowing anything down. I'm sure a lot of you are wondering, what is this game about? You really want to know? Fine, I'll tell you. Okay, here's what's happening. There are two countries, Arcadia and Rosaria. Arcadia starts a war campaign against the whole continent, which is called Ivalice, which may or may not have anything to do with the Ivalice in Final Fantasy Tactics. Sure enough, Arcadia takes over half of Ivalice, and the country is supposed to care about, Dalmasca, is the next target. Do you see any problems with this exposition? Like, at all? Well, yeah, that is a really big problem, but I'm talking about other problems. Major problems. If you paid attention, you'd have realized that this is a very poorly explained exposition. There is nothing that is explained in a satisfactory manner. Like, the whole thing I just said, that's basically the game's explanation in a nutshell. The only difference between mine and the game's explanation is that the game's is a drawling Indian accent that stretches out every sentence to unbelievable lengths. This leaves a crap load of things left unexplained. For example, how long has the war been going on? Did it just start, or has this been going on for years? I think if you tell us how long this war has been going on, we'll know just how dangerous it is. Furthermore, is Ivalice the only continent in the world? If so, why doesn't Arcadia just go over to the other continents? Like, that way you won't have to deal with Rosaria, which is twice your size. Or wait, is Rosaria even fighting at all? The game briefly mentions that they're fighting over control over Ivalice, but immediately after establishing that, Rosaria is almost never mentioned again. Besides, Rosaria appears to be larger than Arcadia, so why doesn't Rosaria just march right in Arcadia and give them a royal beating? I highly doubt Arcadia is near the pure evil of, say, Mordor, so really, you have a chance at actually busting their hides. Furthermore, is Rosaria even the good country in this scenario? What I'm saying is, we don't know anything about Rosaria. For all we know, they could be evil. I mean, think about it this way. We haven't learned anything about Rosaria's victories. They probably haven't won a battle. Arcadia has been winning most of the fights, presumably. What has Rosaria been doing? My only guess here is that maybe Rosaria isn't fighting and is instead forcing people to work in the salt mines. That's what it would seem like. I don't think they're even fighting. I was so disappointed by this, I went to the Final Fantasy Wikia to look up more on Rosaria. And you know what I found? Nothing! Oh, there was an article, but according to the article, not only do you never visit Rosaria, but also Rosaria's entire role in the story can be summed up in 2 paragraphs. As well as the fact that there are only 2 characters you ever meet that are from Rosaria. But I think the biggest problem with this entire explanation is that there still is no explanation whatsoever to why the war is going on. I have no idea how you can possibly skip this vital piece of information. The only thing we're told is that they're fighting over the control of Evilise, but that doesn't tell us anything. Is it because of resources? Is it because they just feel like it? Is it because one of them is just evil and the other one is trying to stop them? Why? In fact, the only piece of noteworthy information in this entire summary is the prince's name. Want to guess what it is? Do you now see just how insipid this summary is? It tells you information you should probably know, but doesn't tell you the information you need to know. Imagine watching Lord of the Rings. Imagine if all the information after Sauron's defeat was cut out. All of it. Isildur's death, the ring coming to Gollum, and then the ring coming to the possession of Bilbo. Now imagine all that information being put at the beginning of the 2 towers. It wouldn't make sense. The first scenes are always the best place to put information we need to know. But in reality, that's the exact problem with Final Fantasy XII. Instead of telling us much needed information, it glances over it and pads it out until 40 hours in. I would be fine with this if they at least brought up that they don't know it, but no, instead it glances over. It doesn't even bring it up at all. They don't even lightly touch the subject. There's a difference between keeping a mystery and just being flat out vague. But I guess it doesn't matter because the King of Dalmasca is now surrendering to Arcadia, right after establishing there's a big war. Because, after all, what's the point of knowing the purpose of a war if you already surrendered to it?
The treaty would be signed with steel and writ in royal blood.
Do you honestly care anymore?
You there? Can you hear me?
So we meet our new protagonist for the next 3 minutes, Rex. He hasn't done anything, isn't doing anything, and will never be doing anything that will remotely impact the plot at all. And the only thing worth mentioning about him is that he's voiced by the legendary voice actor Yuri Lowenthal, which really makes you have to wonder how low he would go for money. We also meet Captain Bosch, who starts killing off a bunch of Arcadian guards. Wait, what? Didn't you literally just say the king was surrendering? Why is the army here, and why are they killing the people they're surrendering to? Well, this is an example of what I like to call plot twist whiplash. Plot twist whiplash is when you immediately show a plot twist out of the left field before the audience can react to the previous plot twist or events. You may have seen plot twist whiplash in such cases such as the S3 plan from Metal Gear Solid 2, Nord from Final Fantasy VIII, and the ending to the film adaptation of The Shining. As to why they're here though, well, it's the game being incredibly vague again. Though, to be fair, this is more like an actual mystery, but since we know so little about Arcadia's motives or why Dalmasca is surrendering, that I just don't care. Okay, let's just forget about the plot for a minute and just focus on the actual gameplay. I'm getting really sick of talking about this idiotic plot. Huh. Oh, this is actually pretty cool. For once, I'm in full 3D control of the Final Fantasy character. The other games employed isometric views and weird camera angles. I'm actually amazed that Square Enix decided to step their game up and make their Final Fantasy game play more like a modern game. Anyway, while you're experimenting with your rather heartwarming controls, you walk up to this one guy and he tells you to try and not be a hero. Remember this line, it serves quite a bit of weight later on. Anyway, now that we're done trudging through all that bullcrap, we can finally see how the fighting system works. I'm actually excited for this. Okay, let's go. Wait, what? Wait, what? No! 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 I can't continue any further. This is just... Why would you do this to Final Fantasy! What is wrong with you, you stupid idiots?